As defending champions of the National Football Conference, the Minnesota Vikings confidently entered 1977, accompanied by a nagging counterpoint. Though 3 NFC crowns in 5 seasons proved them to be the giants of their kingdom, skepticism concerning their continued rule was flourishing. Those who spread such thoughts cited the young, improving Chicago Bears and Minnesota's advancing years, then produced their strongest point. Other than 10 opponents in common with the Bears, Minnesota had to play Oakland, Dallas, Cincinnati, and San Francisco, teams which posted 41 wins the year before. Chicago, on the other hand, would oppose New Orleans, the New York Giants, Kansas City, and Houston, teams which collectively totaled only 17 wins 1 year earlier. Add Minnesota's loss in Super Bowl XI, and critics seemed to have a case. Yet the Vikings themselves knew better.
The suggestion that has been made that after having lost 4 Super Bowls that, the Vikings have had it. Of course, that suggestion was made, I think, 3 times before. Each time we've come back and won our division the next year, I don't think it's any less likely that the same thing will happen this year. Everybody says the Bears are a much improved football team, and they are. They're a much better football team. But that doesn't, account for the fact that we're still a pretty good football team ourselves.
We've been called lucky, and, they say we live in a tree and all this sort of thing. But we are successful enough to have gone to the Super Bowl more than any other team in football. And I think this is a very important factor. You can't get there on just luck.
People forget what it takes to get to the Super Bowl, and they kind of make predictions or make judgments of teams through the Super Bowl. And they don't realize that only 2 teams play the Super Bowl, 26 others watch you on TV. But we aren't by any means losers. We win consistent. And so I'd just like to say that to all the so-called experts that I'd like to see them do their homework, and we'll be back there again.
And speaking of winning streaks, the Minnesota Vikings had not lost a home game since Roger Staubach's famous Hail Mary pass of season before last. And last week, the Vikings rolled through the Cowboys for an easy touchdown on their first possession of the game. Chuck Foreman's romp had the Vikings in the lead for most of the game, because most of the game was played out in the middle of the field by 2 tough and determined defensive clubs. To solve the purple puzzle on this particular day, Staubach picked out his peerless pair of Pearsons, and in particular, Preston Pearson. Preston Pearson played most of the game at the halfback slot, where many expected to see more of Tony Dorsett. But Pearson kept making the big plays, including the clutch catch, which finally gave Dallas the lead in the 4th quarter. Pearson had 15 carries and 5 catches for well over 100 yards. Tony Dorsett's pro debut consisted of 4 carries for 11 yards and a fumble. As Coach Tom Landry said later, "I want to see Tony get the experience, but this wasn't a good day for him to get experience." Late in the 4th quarter, Fran Tarkenton did what only he can do, and the Vikings came back to tie it. The Cowboys had a chance to win in regulation and blew it, but in overtime, Roger Staubach, in his own way, made sure of the outcome. As Staubach said later, I just put my head down. Sometimes it works, sometimes, well, I've got a few bruises. Staubach also got the Cowboys their 13th straight opening day victory. and that was worth a lot more than a few bruises.
To him, here is the offensive line for the Vikings.
Got Big Riley at left tackle, Goodrum at left guard, Tingelhoff, who's been at center forever up here, Hamilton, who's now in for Eddie White, and I guess Eddie White will no longer become a Viking. At least he's not starting this season with him. And, of course, the All-Pro Big Ranieri, the 10-year veteran at right tackle.
The receivers were Rashad Sammy White, the second-year man now, who did so well as a rookie, and Stu Voigt, the guy who just comes out of the ground when they need clutch yardage.
McClanahan and, of course, Chuck Foreman.
Last play for Minnesota got 2 yards. And here goes Tarkenton again. Down the middle and deep to Foreman. At the 40 is Chuck Foreman. Stopped by Thomas Henderson. Foreman out of the backfield.
Fran's going to throw it a lot today, huh?
Like he might have to. Straight ahead Johnson on a misdirection play, and Johnson's got some room. At the 40, at the 35 by Cliff Harris. Francis. Stu Voigt. Stopped again by Cliff Harris.
Boy, Goodrum is doing a great job blocking Randy White, too.
That means he got hit hard in the head. And he'll be back. Tarkenton is going to throw back across the field. Wide open is Chuck Foreman, and he's going to score. Minnesota making it look easy. Breaks on top. They lead the Cowboys 7-0. On 19-yard line. Roger Staubach, the quarterback.
Got us a little tight.
They are. Golden Richards again is lined up in the backfield, and here he comes out. The Newhouse straight ahead. Page, the first man there.
At law degree. And he was down to about 228 or 226 even when he came into camp. But if anything, he's quicker. Watch Newhouse, number 44, get it. And Page has really gone over Neely's block. And that's on the line of scrimmage, too.
That was the final score. 17-6 Atlanta over Los Angeles. Tarkenton going again. Sammy White out of bounds at the 25, first down Minnesota. Aaron Kyle close to him. I'll tell you who they are in just a sec. Ball back to Pearson. Slipped down. Ran into Alan Page. Carl Eller also involved. Rogers going to run again. And once again, he will not get the first down. It is Carl Eller, one of the many veterans on that Minnesota defensive line. He will. Flag is down, however. Outside, Sammy White. Tackled by Aaron Kyle, but White was close to first down.
Plays and runs his own offense. Talks to his own players. Not his own coach all the time, but his own players.
Less than one. Chuck Foreman will get it. He only lost a yard by that violation. He might try it again. Stu Voigt. First down, Minnesota. Pearson and Newhouse still the running back. Pearson the carrier. Slipped down again. Carl Eller.
It's very fresh.
It'll be a first down, Minnesota, at their own 24. Miller. Broke a few, didn't he? Outside the 35 to the 37, Cliff Harris finally made sure he stayed down.
Good play for Minnesota, too. They were always sort of east-west oriented, and they couldn't laterally do much with you. And now he throws back across the field. It's just a hitch by 35 Miller, but look at the room it gives them to operate in. Riley's down in front with good blocks. I think the Vikings have added something to their offense.
And Tony Dorsett are the running backs for the Cowboys. And here is Dorsett's first carry in the NFL, and it gets maybe a half yard.
Jim Marshall made the tackle.
In some colleges, maybe. It is third down. Dorsett did not get it. He'll get another crack. And again, he does not get it. Jeff Seaman.
Dorsett and Laidlaw.
Those are the running backs behind Staubach. Dorsett goes deep in the eye. Staubach gets away from Page and finally does not get away from everybody else. It's ruled an incomplete pass. Laidlaw had it. Marshall has it now. And now the referees get it from the crowd. Minnesota 2 out of 6. Right now it's 3rd and 8. Staubach. That'll be a screen. Got away from Page. And now he throws. And out of bounds. Butch Johnson was the guy who was close, and there's a flag down.
Carr.
And live. Foreman straight ahead. Inside Dallas territory to the 47-yard line. Stop. Second down, 4. That's McClanahan looking for a place to go. He fumbles. Foreman picks it up and gets it. Minnesota first down. Line of Dallas. 1st and 10. Foreman steps out of the couple.
Incredible. No way he makes the corner, much less making a yardage.
They operate from the Dallas 35. He had forever. Stu Boyd to the 11. At 22, Seattle got a touchdown to make it 14. Tarkenton to Foreman. Trying to find some room and does. Squirms to the outside before Benny Barnes. Tarkenton's going to throw. Or try to. Randy White chasing him. It looks like a ballet dance back there as Tarkenton gets away from everybody and finally does throw. Robert Miller gets some room. Cliff Harris, the only man. In Dallas territory. What a job Tarkenton did. But Francis is going to throw, you know. I guess not. That's McClanahan. He swings down to the 40. And Dallas is thinking pass all the way. So valuable in a situation like this because he can run as well as throw. Wow. D.D. Lewis popped him out of bounds, but he got his first down. 5 left to play. Straight ahead handoff is to McClanahan. To the 20. Aaron Kyle on the tackle, but what a call by Fran Tarkenton. Foreman. To the 12. Hard line. 2nd and 1. McClanahan plugs to the 10. I think he got the first down.
Now you're going to see it. You're going to see a defensive series now.
Cox had a lot of competition in training camp, but that experience is one reason they kept him and not the other guy. It's good. Minnesota 10, Dallas 10. 1:35 left to play.
Following their sudden death defeat in their own home opener, Bud Grant's Minnesota Vikings had all they wanted last Saturday night in Tampa Bay's home opener. And if this pass to Morris Owens had been called a touchdown, a very tight game would have been even tighter. Although Fran Tarkenton threw 38 passes and completed 25, it was the Buccaneer defense which stole the show. But the Bucs defense has not yet learned to put points on the scoreboard, as the Viking defense did with this safety on rookie quarterback Randy Hedberg. In the end, what otherwise might have been a 3-2 victory for Tampa Bay was decided by a single Tarkenton scramble and pass to Chuck Foreman, as the Vikings escaped with a too close for comfort 9-3 win. Minnesota Vikings appear high in the tower of this division. Their defense is playing sterling football. So sterling, in fact, last week the Green Bay Packers had to perform incredible feats just to score 7 points. Odom's 95-yard blazer was only the third touchdown in as many games against the Purple Gang, and it proved their only points of the day. Each year, many say the Vikings are too old, but each year their enthusiasm increases and somehow they get better. So far, Minnesota's only problem has been a slow starting offense. Fran Tarkenton's unit has been criticized for its simplicity and lack of creativity, and it is said this missing imagination makes it vulnerable to heavy attack. But facts show Minnesota is one of the NFL's most consistent winners over the past 10 years. And it was simple but effective football that defeated the Packers last week 19-7. And it will probably be these basics that will guide this team to the playoffs once again. The turtle-pace consistency of the Vikings is always under fire from challengers. And this year, the Chicago Bears were supposed to be the hair of the NFC Central.
We mentioned that Willard Harrell now likes to be called Willard Harrell, just like Tony Dorsett. And the ball taken by Harrell at his own 2. It's slippery there, and he has nowhere to go. Is dropped at the 5-yard line by a swarm of Vikings tacklers, and they're going to spot the ball pretty close to that 5-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 Green Bay. Wide. And Ahmad Rashad, our wide receiver, split wide. Straight ahead is Chuck Foreman, number 44. One pick from Kansas and has been impressive in his first 2 games. Tarkenton will throw. Complete to Rashad. First down at the 45-yard line. Shanahan, good blocking. Pulls his way out close to the first down. We'll see where they mark the ball as the Vikings are moving it well against Green Bay. Should be loose to our left. Tarkenton to the sideline, and it's incomplete. Oh, did he hold it? Yes, he did. Ahmad Rashad held on. Good catch on the far sideline. All right, we've got double tight ends in here now, along with Dennis Swilley to get this 3rd and short. And McClanahan slips, gets up and dives trying to get it, but if they stopped his forward progress where his knee went down, it looks like the official is standing there. A real factor in their offense. The Vikes are going for it on 4th and 2. Tarkenton loops it out, and what a catch by Foreman. First down, Vikings inside the 30, and Foreman saved Francis there because that ball was overthrown, and Foreman went up like a basketball player going for the boards there, John.
6 yards earlier.
Motion McClanahan, Tarkenton to Foreman. He's got lots of room and slips over the 20-yard line and has the first down. Well, let's wait on that. It will be close again depending on where they mark it. He may come up a little bit short. Fred 48. 3rd and short. And I would guess they got it, just diving straight ahead with Boyd at double tight end. Craig actually sits on the wing with Swilley playing the tight end. And they have the first down as the Vikings, Jim Crowder put the stop on them, but it was too late to prevent the first down. The Vikings will just run on you when they get anything short. Tarkenton motion back toward the line is White. Tarkenton will throw. Intended for White, touchdown! And the Vikings are right back in it. You saw motions from Sammy White starting back toward the rest of the backfield, and then
Minnesota very rarely does with motion, but Sammy White is so quick coming off that line. With that motion, the defender has to stay off of him. And when he does that, he's downfield so quickly, and the defender had
Tarkenton to Sammy White brings the Vikings right back into it. With 5:43 remaining first period, we're tied at 7. Sammy Johnson in for Foreman. The pass complete to McClanahan. Carter drags him down, but McClanahan bowled his way for another 2 or 3 yards trying to get that first down, and he has it.
Happy to see that.
Tarkenton trying to get first down to White, complete, and he has it. Sammy White coming into the middle again. As we mentioned, Tarkenton had that very much in his game plan, the coverage from the cornerback.
Down.
Vikings on the move in Green Bay territory. Pitch out Foreman. Foreman gets about 8, maybe 9 yards. Over there to hit him is the linebacker, Gary Weaver, number 52, and the touchdown by Archie Manning. Straight ahead, McClanahan. He has the first down and more. As Terrence Williams made that last tackle, he is in replacing the rookie Butler at left defensive end. McClanahan again, straight ahead.
He ran that draw play very, very well for the Green Bay Packers.
This is Foreman, knocked out of bounds at the 7-yard line of Green Bay, and appeared to get the first down yardage before he went out. Second period. Sammy Johnson to about the 3-yard line. Minnesota fans like Johnson. Some of them would like to see him play more, but how do you get him in when you've got Chuck Foreman in your lineup ahead of him? Wide right is Sammy White. Foreman, touchdown, Chuck Foreman. And the Minnesota Vikings have gone in front of the Green Bay Packers.
It appeared that Williams and Roller may have had Foreman on this play. It's a quick trap up the middle. Let's see if they have a shot at him. Roller almost had a hand on him, but he just continues to go on and move into the end zone for the touchdown.
Plays for the Vikings. Fred Cox attempting the point after. And it's no good. No good. Wide to the left, and so the Minnesota Vikings now lead the Green Bay Packers 13-7. Fifth defensive back in for the Packers here on second down. They give it to Foreman. Straight ahead, and he got about 3 yards.
And I believe Butler is giving Gary all he wants this afternoon.
He is an impressive young man. They've told him he's got the job, the rookie from Kansas. He's got the left defensive end spot, and he's out there to learn. McClanahan. First down and then some. Close to the 45-yard line of Green Bay, and he gets a hand from the partisan crowd as the Vikings have now moved into Green Bay territory. And Stu Voigt, number 83, as we'll see here, does a pretty good job. That play. First down, Minnesota at the 45. Foreman. Weaver has him. Carter comes in to help. So does Johnny Gray, number 24. He got about 4 yards, second and 6. Foreman out to the leader has 53 yards rushing. Sammy Johnson. Looks like he has the first down, a pickup of about 7 yards, running behind the blocking of number 68, Charlie Goodrum. And Minnesota has it rolling again. Good running by Sammy Johnson. 9:13 remaining regulation time. That missed point after by Cox could prove to be a big factor, but they've got to stop them here. Miller carrying, and it looked like he got the first down, and he did. Almost all afternoon. Sammy Johnson. Steve Luke, the safety, number 46, got him low, but Johnson bullying his way for 7 yards. Third quarter there. Third and very short, and a big gain by Johnson, and a stop at the 1-yard line. A loose ball, but it's called dead. Johnston goal for the Vikings. Good run by Johnson through a big hole. Johnson. So the Vikings, after a long drought going back early in the second quarter, the touchdown by Foreman, and finally got on the board again, and now it's blocked. Well, isn't that interesting? And so Ezra Johnson puts the block on it, the rookie, and the Packers stay in it here with the Vikings now leading 19-7, 6:34 remaining. 19-7 with 3:44 remaining in the fourth quarter.
The Minnesota Vikings, time-worn, stone-faced veterans. NFC Central Division champions 8 of the last 9 years. Last week, the Detroit Lions arrived in Minnesota, boasting the NFL's leading ground attack, as well as the league's leading passer in Greg Landry. Perhaps today would mark the beginning of Minnesota's long-awaited decline. Perhaps, but probably not. For league-leading ground attacks and league-leading quarterbacks seldom prosper against the Vikings. Minnesota buried Greg Landry and friends, allowing the Lions all the yardage they wanted between the 20s, but only one harmless touchdown. Meanwhile, Fran Tarkenton and group scored twice, once on this extemporaneous downfield exchange between Ahmad Rashad, number 28, and receiving mate Sammy White. Minnesota's other score came in more conventional fashion, a 12-yard pass from Tarkenton to an unattended White in the corner. Somehow the Vikings keep surviving these Central Division showdowns, but then that's probably why they're annual Super Bowl contenders, and why the Lions are perennial also-rans.
Setbacks, 44 and 33. Targeted with his first pass, taken by Rashad, went out at the 30-yard line. Monahan and Foreman for Targeted. This one is complete to White. Sammy White took it. How did he get to the 6? Looks as though he's right there. He'd like to go with their backs out of the backfield. Pop this one to Rashad. He's got a 1st and 10 at the 50-yard line.
Oh, Targeted was still with the Vikings.
Targeted 3 for 3. Going long this time to Rashad. Rashad from Tarkin and Lim Barney wrestling him to the turf along with James Hunter.
Here it is again. Ahmad Rashad was kind of under wraps the first 3 games, but here Tarkenton goes back. Good pass protection. He's going to find Rashad for his 3rd reception of the day. 37-yard catch on, see the slippery turf? That was 20, Lim Barney slipping.
That part of the right, White's in a slot right. Targeted. Going to White. Sammy White. Touchdown.
Oh, what a beautiful move and what a great pass, Lindsey. Fran Tarkenton had his eye on Sammy White. All 7 yards in 9 plays. Look at this pass protection. And watch Fran look over the field. Beautiful pass. And downfield cutting for the flag, as they call it, a flag pattern, is Sammy White for his 2nd touchdown pass of the year.
Coming into the ball game now, Fred Cox playing it. 10 minutes, 36 seconds remaining to be played in the first quarter, and the Vikings are leading by a score of 7-0. Landry slipped as he started to set up, and he is stopped. Back at the 25-yard line.
And therein lies the problem for Greg Landry. Even though he's ranked number 1 in the NFL in passing, he's been sacked already 15 times this year.
Corvus and Sanders up there as a front 5. Dropping back is Tarkenton. And it is complete to Rashad across the 50-yard line, and he comes back. It's White. White's got the football at the 30, 25, 20. White to the 15, 10, 5, touchdown. Sammy White. Oh, boy.
Oh, he improvised that one. That wasn't a planned play, ladies and gentlemen. Sammy White goes in on a lateral from Ahmad Rashad. Back, finds his man open. Now this is Rashad on a turn-in. Now watch the lateral coming up here. Ooh, that was a quick lateral, wasn't it? Here we got it again. There's Sammy White. He's on the square out. Right here. Take it, pal. I don't want it. I'm going out of bounds.
Remaining to be played in the first quarter. The Minnesota Vikings have struck twice, and they are leading you by a score of 14-0. 3rd down and 2 yards to go as we start the second quarter. Landry still has it. I don't think he wanted it, but he still had it.
Well, he missed the handoff, Lindsey, to the fullback.
Receiver now. Targeted drops back. McClanahan gets to the 45-yard line of Detroit. Not enough for a first down.
Foreman gets back a little bit. He'll come to his left.
Yep, Foreman's got the first down. He approached the 40-yard line. Arnie made the stop.
Now they cheat a little bit.
They go out of the backfield. Targeted. McClanahan, Stu Voigt. Stu Voigt, the tight end. He's going to be marked about a yard short, I think. Charlie West, strong safety from the University of Texas, El Paso, made the tackle. Back. Foreman. Linesman will mark it. Larry Hand made the tackle, and then they'll take a long look at the possible first down.
But in this case, he would have the wind at his back a little bit.
Lacks that much.
But Bud Grant, he's going to go for it.
Time on third and short. Now Brand does working. Foreman, first and 10. That's a patented Foreman move. Up and over. Half McClanahan and Foreman. McClanahan.
He picked up his feet on that one. Good.
Taken by Ahmad Rashad, and he went out just at the 35-yard line. They're warm enough for him to stay home. First and 10. That's the 35-yard line. Whoa, Chuck Foreman.
Remaining backs go out of the backfield to work on the linebacker. There they go.
All alone. Far side is Foreman. Got it up to midfield. Foreman. Moved to the 43. Ken Sanders made the stop. Landry. And this time Alan Page has him in his back. Alan Page got to it.
Yeah, that's what he does best. Best on CBS.
Landry throws, and it is intercepted at the 15-yard line by Bryant. Bryant.
He caught the ball laying flat on his back.
He was on his back, and the ball was right in his hand to Minnesota.
And that should just about do it. Landry's got to go for the home run here. Look at that catch by Bobby Bryant. He was actually on his back when he caught the football. That is Landry's first interception of the year.
The Vikings have won it 14-7.
Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota. For the second time in as many weeks, the Minnesota Vikings played host to a battle for first place in the NFC Central Division. The latest challengers, Walter Payton and the Chicago Bears. Walter Payton leads the NFL in rushing because he performs well regardless of the caliber of Chicago's opponent. Against the veteran Vikings, Payton eclipsed the 100-yard rushing mark for the fourth time this season, setting up 2 Chicago touchdowns in the process. Chicago's 2 scores came on short rollout passes, one to Bo Rather and this one to tight end Greg Latta. How about that, Viking fans? But Viking fans had no reason to despair, for Chuck Foreman outgained Walter Payton, rolling up 150 yards and a touchdown, as the Vikings matched Chicago point for point, sending the game into overtime and setting up a Fred Cox field goal attempt. But a funny thing happened on the way to Fred Cox's game-winning field goal. Holder Paul Krause to number 83 Stu Voigt, a surprise 6-pointer as Minnesota rallied for a 22-16 overtime win. Why on earth conservative old Bud Grant ordered a fake field goal is anybody's guess. Whatever his reasons, the Bears sure weren't expecting it. For the Chicago Bears, it was a real bummer.
For these many years. First and 10. Bears first down to the ball game at their 33. Fumble. Loose football. Who's got it? Minnesota recovers at the 30-yard line as Abilene never came out of it cleanly. Aggressively recovered. Tarkinen trying to take advantage of the mistake. Fires over the middle. McClanahan, 25 down to the 23. Ball is at the 23-yard line. Chicago still no score. McClanahan to the neighborhood of the 20 before he was shoved back. Foreman almost broke it for the touchdown. As he got down to the 12-yard line. First down. Minnesota. Allen Ellis made the stop and saved the TD. First and 10. Vikings use the fair 12. Foreman to the 5, to the 3, to the 2-yard line. Close to a first down. Running back in there with Foreman, but they give the Foreman nevertheless, and Foreman has 6 points. Made it look easy. Against Don Reeves of the Bears, but the point was good. So obviously Minnesota declines the penalty, and they have a 7-0 lead, 5:27 left to play in the opening period. There's the kick a little bit short, Best in the 10, 15, 20, fumbles the ball. Minnesota recovers. Line in Chicago. McClanahan inside the 15 to the 12-yard line. To the pickup of 8 at the 12-yard line. McClanahan up the middle. Penalty markers are thrown. Looks like he's got enough for the first down at the 10-yard line, but let's see what the flag's all about. The referee.
Offensive holding, number 61, 3rd down.
Now they give it to Foreman, who finds a gigantic hole and takes it right back to the 12-yard line, where they were before the penalty. 3 points. Rosa, number 2 in the all-time list. That's a 30-yard try, and it's good. So the Vikings, they've got 8 men at the line of scrimmage, so they're playing in return all the way. Very high kick by Parsons, and a fair catch signal on the 15. It takes a Minnesota bounce all the way back to the 38-yard line. You believe that?
That is unbelievable. That'll be a 5-yard punt.
Wide in motion. Targeted. Obviously found his number 1 receiver covered, so he went to the backup man, who in this case was Robert Miller on this show. 2nd down, 5. Foreman. Great move. Foreman, and he's down inside the Bear 40-yard line. Miller. Second effort. They have got him the first down at the 28-yard line. Territory just once in the first half, and that wasn't a deep penetration at all. Here's Foreman picking his way up the middle. Chambers. Tarkinen throwing on 3rd down, 4. Finds his receivers covered. Tried to get the pass away to Miller. Good pressure that time by Wally Chambers, and Chambers is hot. Krause puts it down. That's a 39-yard field goal attempt, and he's got it. Fred Cox is 2 out of 3. Once again, the squib kick by the Bears, trying to prevent the long run back, but instead they get a pretty good return out of Mark Keller, number 39. Minnesota at its 46-yard line. Tarkinen with a nice fake, rolls to the right, drops it off to Stu Boyd. His tight end, and Boyd is down to the Bear 39. The only team to beat them out of a divisional title in that time, and they're going for their 5th straight. And the Bears giving them a stiff argument. Tarkinen, Newsom after him. He gets it away. There's a marker down as Boyd makes the catch.
Offensive holding, number 62, 2nd down.
They're at the Bear 49-yard line. Tarkinen back to throw it. The rush is on. He steps up into the pocket, fires wide open. Down to the far sideline is Rashad. He's got the 20 yards that they needed for the first down, plus perhaps one more.
Game.
No gain on that last play. It is 2nd down, 10. Tarkinen quickly retreating back into the pocket, and a diving catch for the first down at the 12-yard line by Sammy White. A couple of yards of the play. 2nd and 8. Quick hitter, and Foreman has come back into the game, carries to the 5. Less than 5 for the touchdown. Tarkinen going for the 6. Incomplete. Yard attempt. Not much more than an extra point when you get right time to it. Krause to put it down. It's good. So we are tied. The Vikings and the Bears are knotted up at 16 apiece with 12 minutes. He's done a good job protecting Avellini. This young Fairline averages just 24 years of age. Little hit screen out to the wide receiver, James Scott. And Scott run out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Bears at their own 47 trying to pick up the first, and they do not get it. No question about that, as Harper was nailed by Alan Page. 38.
Never gets hurt? Never.
Never. Big rush. Wally Chambers in there applying pressure. Rashad at the 30, out to the 35-yard line as Virgil Livers slipped and went down. Second down, 6 needed for the first down. Miller again in motion. Tarkenton rolling to the right. Protection is good. Stops and fires downfield, and it is complete to Sammy White at the 38-yard line of the Chicago Bears. First down from the Bear 37. Francis Tarkenton over the middle of Miller to the 32 to the 30-yard line. For the defensive alignment. It is Foreman behind Miller's block. Inside the 25 to the 23. First down, Minnesota. Ball and then kick. Foreman has picked up 146 yards rushing at 25 carries. Easily his best day. Miller inside the 20 to about the 16-yard line.
Now, fake field goal. Minnesota goes for the touchdown, and they win it 22-16. And
the reason for this became apparent down in Atlanta, Georgia, where the Minnesota Vikings met the Falcons, who were giving a professional performance in acting like a top-flight team. For most of the afternoon, the Vikings were facing a defense so tough and so miserly that it's given up a mere 46 points in 7 games. But unfortunately for the Falcons, their defense has carried the burden through the first half of the season because the offense has managed to score only a meager 70 points, the 26th lowest total in the NFL. Last week, quarterback Scott Hunter doled out the usual 6-point ration to tight end Greg McCrary, number 88. The 49-yard play was a work of art and definitely one of a kind for Atlanta last week. Usually it would be enough for the overworked Falcon defense, but Fran Tarkenton wanted to look good for the home folks, and he did on this 54-yard bomb to Sammy White, which knotted the score at 7 in the first half. Then it wasn't until the fourth quarter that the Purple Gang was able to get close again on this 51-yard burst by the incomparable Chuck Foreman. It was an uncharacteristic slip for Atlanta's defense, and Fran made the most of it. The winning pass went to tight end Bob Tucker, recently acquired from the Giants for a 6th-round draft pick. Said Francis of Bob, "We were together in New York, and he knows how to get open. I told him the play was the old power 27 Y over we had with the Giants. I knew he'd be there." And after all these years, Fran Tarkenton can still get pretty excited over a hard-fought victory, especially when it keeps the Minnesota division lead at 2 full games.
Fred Moore, 2 yards deep in his own end zone behind the Viking wedge. Moore has got some room. He's still going at the 46-yard line. Carl Farmer made the tackle, but on first down, Tarkenton is going for the money. Sammy White's got a step. Sammy White has a Viking touchdown, just like that. Rollin Lawrence was back there, but White finally shook him.
Well, that's another 1-yard drive. Watch this. Here's the Fran Tarkenton nobody said could play. Throw it out of the pocket. He did. I'm telling you, he hummed this one strong and on. Yeah, Sammy can run all right.
Sammy can also catch.
Overcome by it all is Bud Grant.
Hunter has time. Throws almost picked off, and I'm not sure. Yes, sir. Fred McNeil. They say he made the interception.
He was juggling the ball as he headed for the sidelines, and obviously this crowd of red doesn't agree. The swing back looks open when he throws it. Hunter throws it again deep in his own territory on third down, and these are great athletes. Blair, McNeil, and Studwell. He looked like he was fooling for control, but must have had it. The guy's right on top of the play.
Here it is again, in the circle, look.
Left corner screen, you go ahead. Well, these linebackers have changed pro football, haven't they?
Minnesota first down at the Atlanta 34, and Tarkenton again comes straight back. He throws back to the other side to McClanahan. With the area out in front, McClanahan scoots down the sideline. McClanahan down inside the 20-yard line, stopped by Pennywell finally. Didn't get all this one. And has some room on the other sideline, does more. But the Atlanta coverage is good. Ron McCartney made the tackle. Over 60,000 watching Chuck Foreman run now. And Chuck gets up about to the 48. Claude Humphrey and Wilson Famuina. Chuck Foreman got about 5, and he tries again. And Foreman broke it. Does not quite get in. Chuck Foreman. Stopped by Ray Brown at the 1-yard line.
You got to keep piling on him. He slips by here. Let's see what he does. They run the linebacker by. Actually, Famuina knocked him out into the open a little bit, the big defensive nose man. And if he wasn't looking over his shoulder, 44 might have scored. Now the problem from a yard in might be more difficult.
Dubois made a spectacular catch. I believe Goodrum was in motion.
They might have called the illegal procedure. Let's see if that's what the call is. You'll hear it by the crowd. Don't worry about it.
A flag is down, and I think Goodrum was in motion. Backs now, and Tarkenton fakes. Being chased by Claude Humphrey. He throws. Touchdown, Bob Tucker. Humphrey almost had him. 8 minutes, 14 seconds left to play. And Fran Tarkenton, who grew up in these parts, draws a little sigh of relief now as the Vikings lead by a touchdown and an extra point. At 4 Eastern Time. Sports Saturday here on CBS. Scott Hunter still the quarterback. Gives to Woody Thompson. Thompson swings around. First down he has. Out to the 35-yard line. Fred McNeil made the tackle. Scott Hunter drops on second down. Flag is down, and he underthrows. He misses the receiver.
Alan Page was being mugged.
Well, that's what you said you had to do.
It's the only way you could block him.
Page. Hunter ducked under a bunch. Scott Hunter hit by Fred McNeil. He did not get a first down, not near.
You said he ducked under a bus?
So does Minnesota. Page jumped at the last minute. Picked off by Bobby Bryant. Bryant cuts back to the inside. Knocked down by his own man, Mark Mullaney. Bobby Bryant with a clutch interception for Minnesota. Tarkenton is going to throw. The blitz is on, and down the middle it goes to Sammy White at about the 3.
Maybe his last one from home state Georgia.
Might be. And so the Vikings, who, as Tom mentioned, play St. Louis next week up in Minnesota, improve their record to 5-2, and Atlanta goes to 4-3.
Did someone say the Minnesota Vikings were finally too old? Last week, 39-year-old Captain Jim Marshall and his friends closed down the Cincinnati Bengal offense, while 37-year-old Fran Tarkenton managed to complete 17 of 18 passes to set one of the few NFL passing records he didn't already own. With Tarkenton in total command, the Viking offense was enjoying by far its best day of the season. But then in the middle of the third period, a missed audible resulted in the first serious injury of Fran Tarkenton's 17-year career. Number 67, Gary Burley, fell on Tarkenton, whose right leg was broken just above the ankle. Said Burley later, "I hate to be the one who hurt Fran Tarkenton." Number 9, rookie Tommy Kramer took over at quarterback and led the Vikings to 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns. But in spite of their impressive performance, unfortunately for Kramer and the Vikings, this was the day that will be remembered as the day Fran Tarkenton went down.
It's hot out there, but let's blow them off the line of scrimmage.
For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory.
A blustery November afternoon in Chicago. Time to bundle up and march down to Soldier Field to see if the Chicago Bears once again can hold off impending disaster. Bear fans know how to survive. Their team has been a model of inconsistency since week 2. Yet still the Bears entertain playoff hopes, with a winning formula serving as a constant reminder of their preseason promise. Today, what it will take is a big performance from this man, NFL rushing leader Walter Payton. Without Payton's 1,129 yards, the Bears and head coach Jack Pardee likely would find themselves among the also-rans. But Payton's magic has shepherded Chicago through tough times, and today could make the difference in a showdown battle. For today, the Bears play host to the Minnesota Vikings, a team with rookie Tommy Kramer and little-used Bob Lee as the only healthy quarterbacks. Fran Tarkenton's injury has forced Bud Grant to go to the bench to protect his 2-game lead in the NFC Central Division. It's not a prospect Grant cares to smile about. This is a must game for Chicago. The Bears have already lost to Minnesota, and a second loss would wipe out their playoff hopes. But against a wounded Viking team that has been most ineffective stopping the run, you've got to like Chicago's chances in the NFL Game of the Week. But the Bears didn't want 3, they wanted 6. The Vikings made them settle for none. With Payton momentarily neutralized, the Bears didn't cross midfield the remainder of the first period. Once again, the burden fell upon Chicago's lackluster defense. Unwilling one was Chicago punter Bob Parsons. Blair came crashing through to block Parsons' punt and run it down on the 10. From there, it was an easy score, the Vikings' first of the game, and against the Bears' lowly defense, there was absolutely no reason to think it would be their last. Blair's exuberance and joy was understandable. For 31, Bob Lee connected on his longest pass of the day to tight end Bob Tucker, clear and free for 29 yards, all the way to the Chicago 2-yard line. Now, with an excellent chance to get in the end zone, General Lee came a cropper with a botched handoff that must have had Minnesota followers yearning for Fran Tarkenton. But if that wasn't bad enough, on the very next play with the ball now spotted at the 3, the Vikings decided to go to the air. This was undoubtedly the key play of the entire ballgame. Lee's jump pass, a play called by Bud Grant from the sidelines, resulted in an interception by second-year linebacker Tom Hicks, and the Vikings' threat was over. The Bears' defense had saved the day. Cornerback Nate Wright pulled off a fine defensive play that resulted in a turnover. Watch Bob Avellini's eyes as he rolls right. Despite a short look-off and fake, he must have liked what he saw near the sideline. But Wright, covering James Scott like a glove, picked off the ball. For a touchdown. After an 11-yard gain by Chuck Foreman, Lee completed a pass to Brent McClanahan for another gain of 11 for a second straight first down. But with the ball on their own 29 and just over a minute left to play, Lee found himself in a 3rd and 14 situation. After avoiding the rush, he hit Sammy White with a perfect pass. The play covered 13 yards, 1 yard short of the first down. Seldom has a passing partnership paid so dearly for success. For White limped off injured on the play, while downfield Lee himself was sinking to the turf in pain. Lee, after avoiding Ron Rydelch, got off his pass to White, only to be brought down immediately by number 75, Jeff Seavey. Seavey's tackle caused Lee to twist his knee badly enough that he had to be removed from the game. Lee, who should be well enough to play the Vikings' next game, was replaced by the Vikings' #1 draft choice, Tommy Kramer, and it was on this rookie's shoulders that rested the outcome of the game. Kramer dropped back and tried to go to Sammy White, who had remained in the game. But number 48, cornerback Allen Ellis, hauled in the errant throw, and the Vikings' final threat was ended. All that remained now was for the Chicago offense to take the field and calmly wait for the remaining seconds to tick down. Up in Green Bay, as they say, the game started and ended in a blizzard, with Minnesota trying to hold on to a 1-game lead in their division, but falling behind when Packer quarterback David Whitehurst ran through the white stuff for an early score. Viking quarterback Bob Lee dared only 8 passes, but one that spun through the flakes for 40 yards to Sammy White proved to be the margin of victory. Whitehurst threw the ball 15 more times than Lee, yet completed just one more pass, but it was a big one, a 34-yarder to Bert Askson that brought Green Bay to the Viking 5-yard line. Askson tried to snowball into the end zone, but unfortunately could not. And the always clutch Minnesota defense, Bobby Bryant especially, saved the Vikings once more as their 13-6 victory preserved a 1-game lead in the NFC Central Division.
Whitehurst giving off to Will Harrell. He's in trouble, and Harrell is not going to get that first down. In fact, he lost a yard. Carl Eller, number 81, flying over. Receivers in the game on a 3rd and 2. Whitehurst with his first pass of the game. And Barty Smith, the intended receiver, but Carl Eller got out there. Carl Eller made 2 fine defensive plays back-to-back, and the Packers are going to have to get rid of the football. Green Bay. Bob Lee to Chuck Foreman. Foreman stays on his feet. Foreman dropped by Jim Carter. You know, a question comes up on a run like that, John. Go. Give to Foreman. He's got the first down and then some. He breaks outside. Johnny Gray's got him. Rams him out of bounds. But Chuck Foreman now starting to make his presence felt. Got quite a block from Brent McClanahan. The 49-yard line, the ball in the Minnesota end of the field. This is McClanahan. McClanahan now finding some running room. He comes into Packer territory. MC McCoy. Philadelphia 14-0. 3rd down. A long 3 to go. Sammy White goes in motion. Bob Lee off to McClanahan on the screen. He cuts back beautifully. And he's got, I believe, a first down. Fine run there by McClanahan. Bob Barber eventually caught him. First down, Minnesota. For Minnesota, they have it at the 40-yard line of Green Bay. Bob Lee, play action. Got a lot of time. Throwing down here, wide open. Sammy White, touchdown. Sammy White got wide open And there was no contest on that one. A 7-6 lead. Just inside 15 minutes to go in the second quarter play. The Vikings with a must game here today. Ollie Smith to the top. David Whiter's going to throw on first down. A screen complete to Rich McGeorge. McGeorge stays on his feet and fights for 3 yards as Fred McNeil is over there. You can see how treacherous the footing is. Gain of 4, 2nd and 6. Whiters off to Harrell. He fumbled the ball. It's loose. Who's got it? I believe Minnesota's got it. They do.
Let's watch the handoff and see what happens. He does not get his arm all the way up, and David Whitehurst hit Harold on the elbow.
2 of Green Bay. 7-6 Minnesota. Give to McClanahan. McClanahan to the outside, and look at him fight for yardage. Brent McClanahan, who earlier fumbled, setting up the only Packer touchdown, hanging on with both arms that time. Lee gives off to Foreman. Look at him slip and slide. He tried to change direction, and look at him fight for the yardage. He's got a first down. Chuck Foreman looked like nothing doing on that play, but he would not go down and drag tacklers with him. Give to Foreman again, and Foreman the big hole. Chuck Foreman got beautiful blocking behind Ed White and Ron Yeri. From the end zone, you'll see how number 73 and 62 block for him.
Let's watch Ed White block on Butler as he knocks it back to the outside. See the hole that Foreman picks back up inside. Good blocking by the offensive lineman, Dave Pure.
Bob Lee giving up McClanahan. And McClanahan is inside the 20, and his forward progress close to the 15-yard line. The ball at the 16-yard line. This is Sammy Johnson, the former San Francisco 49er. Sammy Johnson rips off 7 or 8 yards. Carter, many years for the Packers. Second down now. And again, it's the big fullback fighting for yardage. And did he get the first and goal? Sammy Johnson spinning and fighting. He got it. Lee giving off to McClanahan. He's not going to get it. The fired up defense of Green Bay is equal to the occasion. They tried a little scissor action in the backfield. Oh. The snap, the kick by Cox is on the way, and Fred Cox hit it. So the Minnesota Vikings have taken a 10-6 lead with 8:42 to go before our halftime. Foreman and McClanahan, the running backs from the 30. This is Foreman. And he's hit by big Mike Butler. And I mean big. He's 6'5". They list him at 265. Bob Lee to Foreman. There he goes. First down. He fumbled the ball. It's first. Who's got it? Minnesota has recovered their own fumble. Motion goes McClanahan. This is Sammy Johnson. And Johnson off the right-hand side. Boy, you talk about tendencies today. They've just hammered that right side. The ball at the 48-yard line. Bob Lee on a 2nd and 6. No place to go. Now he dumps it off to Bob Tucker, and Tucker falls forward what appears to be the first down. The 42 of Green Bay. 1:40 to go. First half lead. Back to throw. Pressure put on by Bob Barber. It's complete. Ahmad Rashad. He is dropped immediately at the 30-yard line. That will be another first down for Minnesota. 3rd and 5. Give to Foreman. Foreman's got the first down. And Foreman's to the 15-yard line. Johnny Gray dropped him. 3rd down. Sammy Johnson fighting for the yardage. He's not going to get much. Going to bring up 4th down. The field goal team will come in as the time winding down. Minnesota. Cox kick on the way, and Fred Cox got it. A 30-yard field goal by the venerable veteran. And now with 1 second left in this first half, it's 13-6. They have a half-game lead coming into this game. That's the end of the first half with the score. The Minnesota Vikings 13, the Green Bay Packers 6. Whitehurst play action. Got time to throw. Throwing. Aston. He got it. Bert Aston at the 5. That is only his 2nd catch of the year. Bert Aston with his 2nd catch. Paul Krause, Bobby Bryant's back. And he almost didn't get it, John. He bobbled it, but he hung on.
That ball was thrown perfectly by David Whitehurst. As you see, the coverage downfield by Krause and Wright. The ball was thrown right between them. Ball.
Whitehurst rolling. He scored on this earlier, but he's not going anywhere this time. He scored from 3 yards out earlier on that play, but this time Alan Page, the veteran he is, was not fooled at all. Whitehurst again, got protection. Throwing, Ollie Smith intercepted. Bobby Bryant. Ollie Smith looked like he was open. Bobby Bryant stepped in and picked it off, and that's his 4th interception of the year. Big play for Minnesota. They say it's 10. No loss on that last play and no gain. Whitehurst with 1:20 to go in the 3rd quarter, throwing under pressure, and it is intercepted. Picked off by Paul Krause. And Krause now is 1 interception short of the record by Tunnell. There's a flag, however, on the play. It was deflected further up the field by McNeil. He backs at the 21-yard line, Eric Torkelson. And he's not going to go anywhere. Very fine reaction that time. Doug Sutherland and Alan Page. Laney, heir apparent in that position. Number 1 draft pick in '75 out of Colorado State. 3rd down, 6. Whitehurst. And he is hit hard from behind. He is hit very hard. Dick Himes pounced on the ball, but Alan Page unloaded on him. Whitehurst going to throw on 1st down. Got nice protection. Throwing. Ollie Smith almost intercepted by Nate Wright. Nate Wright waiting on that one, almost came up with it. This is Marty Smith. Doesn't find a lot of running room. The ball may have been fumbled, was it? They're unpiling. Marty Smith getting up. They did. Minnesota recovered it. Marty Smith fumbled the ball inside the 10-yard line, and Minnesota has come up with a big fumble recovery. For Matt Flair defending on the play, Harrell thought he was interfered with. Whitehurst back again. Protection there. Throwing. Ollie Smith. He had it and dropped it. Ollie Smith had it and dropped it. And the Packers have run out of downs with 1:31 left. Has now directed his team to a 7-4 record. A must-win for him today. It was a struggle for him, but I think this guy expected it. As his team, their backs to the wall, leading 13-6, held on to that lead in the 2nd half with interceptions by Bobby Bryant and Paul Krause and a fumble recovery on the 8-yard line and a fumble by Marty Smith as they hang on to win. So the Vikings now will get ready for San Francisco with that 7-4 record. And the Vikings have now won 6 in a row over the Green Bay Packers. They've won 9 of their last 11. And Bart Starr, who's in his 3rd year as the coach of Green Bay, is still looking for his first win over the Minnesota Vikings.
In Minnesota, the field is definitely not heated, but the frozen tundra did not seem to bother the San Francisco 49ers, who ran up a commanding lead against the punchless and befuddled Vikings. Number 30 is rookie running back Dave Williams from Colorado, and his 80-yard return of a Fred Cox squib kick helped San Francisco to a 3rd quarter lead, which at the time seemed insurmountable. Late in the 3rd quarter, this Bob Lee flip to Brent McClanahan finally got the Vikings on the scoreboard, but Minnesota still needed 3 more touchdowns to win. So in the 4th quarter, they turned to a rookie to lead them, and number 9, Tommy Kramer, proceeded to rip apart the NFL's top-ranked pass defense. Kramer completed 9 of 13 passes for 188 yards and 3 touchdowns, the last coming with just 1 minute 38 seconds remaining, and everyone in the park looking for a pass. Number 85, wide receiver Sammy White, has had a lot of big moments in his 2 short years in the NFL, but there won't be many to rank with this one. The Never Say Die Vikings won 28-27. and thereby retained their slim one-game lead over the second-place Chicago Bears in the NFC Central Division. At Bloomington, Minnesota, the field was more suited for cross-country skiing than football, as the Vikings met the San Francisco 49ers in a game that very well could decide Minnesota's fate in the playoffs. It has long been a homily in the National Football League that these kind of conditions favor the Vikings, especially against a warm weather rival. This cliche has held up against the Los Angeles Rams, but not the 49ers. And if your memory is not frazzled with age, you can remember another game 7 years ago in 1970 when San Francisco warmed up to the challenge in a playoff game. In 1970, the cold northern winds blew and the field was frozen solid. Everyone said this was Viking weather and conceded the game to the cold-hearted Purple Gang. Everyone, that is, but quarterback John Brody and head coach Dick Nolan. It was folklore that Brody wore short sleeves to psych up his team, but in truth, the equipment man simply forgot his long underwear. Brody did not lose his passing ability, however, and San Francisco beat the Vikings 14-10. Two years later in San Francisco, the Vikings were determined to end the 49ers' playoff dreams. Minnesota built a big lead, which lasted late into the game when an old nemesis was called from the bullpen and told to throw strikes. In relief of starting quarterback Steve Spurrier, John Brody picked apart the Vikings defense like a Thanksgiving Day turkey. On that memorable day in 1972, Brody threw 2 touchdown passes as the 49ers rallied to defeat the Vikings 20-17 and win the NFC West. Now, 5 years later, the 49ers could celebrate again and cripple the Vikings' playoff chances as the two teams met in the NFL Game of the Week. Up a 3rd and 10. When Lee finally discovered something that would work. Number 28, Ahmad Rashad, who had just 1 catch for 9 yards in the first half, suddenly began getting very open. Rashad snared 3 passes for 43 yards, 18 on a square out, 12 more on a look-in, and 13 more on a screen that ended with a lookout. Despite the Niners' the Vikings were not to be denied this time, as on the next play, Lee dumped a pass over a 49er blitz that Brent McClanahan carted into the end zone. On the right of the screen, notice that on the touchdown, number 49, Ralph McGill, was caught in a safety blitz and was thereby eliminated from the pursuit of McClanahan. The Vikings were finally on the board, but trailing 24-7 with 18 minutes to go, their battle was still pretty full. Was new, the tactics employed were not. On his first play of the game, Kramer went to Ahmad Rashad. On this possession, Rashad caught 3 more passes for 69 yards of the 74-yard drive, including a beautifully thrown Kramer pass for 39 yards. From the 8, Kramer nailed Rashad in front of Bruce Taylor, and the Vikings were getting close. But on the play, Minnesota lost its best weapon of the day when Rashad was hit in the back by Ralph McGill's knees as he fell over the fallen Viking receiver. Minnesota, still trailing by 10, would have to get the rest without Rashad. With 11 minutes left, the Vikings lined up in the everybody get on Fred's left onside kick formation, which worked to perfection. Tom Hannon recovered Fred Cox's high chopper to third. And after much discussion of the Vikings' kickoff maneuver, Minnesota was correctly awarded the ball near midfield. Kramer, with 3 completions, reached the San Francisco 26, where he began using the Vikings' newest receiver, tight end Bob Tucker. Tucker first gained 17 yards, and a repeat of the play reveals why the Vikings were so pleased to get him. Tucker is one of the best pass-catching tight ends in football. Fran Tarkenton, who had the pleasure of throwing to Tucker when both were New York Giants, suggested that Minnesota try to get him. The Vikings have not been disappointed. Tucker's 7-yard touchdown reception closed the score to 24-21. And another look reveals another facet of Tucker's talent. On the play, Mel Phillips had a clear shot at Tucker, who merely shrugged him off and ambled into the end zone. Now trailing by 3, the Vikings again put most of Plunkett ran a reverse, but Kenny Harrison's fumble turned the play into a 9-yard loss. San Francisco had to take a field goal to lead by 6. With less than 2 minutes left, Hofer once more banged into the line, but didn't come out with the ball. Viking tackle James White recovered on the Minnesota 31 with 1:47 left. And on the very next play, despite the fact that San Francisco must have at least suspected a long bomb, Kramer hit Sammy White for the touchdown. That White merely ran straight downfield, and number 49, Ralph McGill, just didn't have the speed to stay with him. But the play also reveals a perfect pass by a raw rookie with his team's playoff chances on the line. Jeff Seaman's interception made it final as Minnesota stayed the execution of their playoff hopes. Their 28-27 comeback victory must rank right up there as one of the greatest comebacks in NFL history. Trailing 24-0 late in the third quarter, the Vikings came back to win at a time when, if they had not done it, they faced the very real possibility of not making the playoffs. And the man who had done it was a rookie quarterback named Tommy Kramer, number 9. 3 times, and number 43, Nate Wright, took one of them for a quick 6. A Kramer touchdown pass to Sammy White salvaged some dignity in their 35-13 defeat. But Viking coach Bud Grant was not about to let his club be the fall guys in such a scheme. For if Minnesota did not beat Detroit, they would be out of postseason play. However, that possibility vanished when Minnesota quarterback Bob Lee got hot early. Wide receiver Ahmad Rashad, number 28, caught this one and 7 others to riddle the Lion pass defense. And Chuck Foreman, number 44, got his annual 1,000 yards rushing while scoring twice. Foreman ended the night with 156 yards on the ground, but even this performance was overshadowed by Lion kick returner Eddie Payton, number 34. Eddie returned 1 punt, 87 yards for a touchdown, and also brought this kickoff back for another score. Payton's 2 returns made the game interesting, but the Vikes won, and with it took the NFC Central crown. Now only the wild card spot remained, and Eddie's younger brother, Walt. Just wait till we get them in the Coliseum. So went the battle cry of the Los Angeles Rams as they prepared to meet the Minnesota Vikings in the first round of the NFC playoffs. All three previous postseason meetings between these clubs had been played in the cold climes of Minnesota. And on all three occasions, the Vikings were the victors. But now the Rams were at home, only to find that the balmy L.A. climate had turned on them. It was great irony worthy of O. Henry or Hitchcock. For 2 years, California has been plagued by drought. But when the rains finally came, they were most unwelcome. The undermanned Vikings now had an equalizer, even though in the early going the Rams seemed unaffected by it. LA's first offensive series was crisp and smooth as the running of John Cappelletti and Lawrence McCutcheon, number 30, moved the team with surprising ease. But on a 4th-and-1 situation at the Minnesota 31-yard line, the Rams decided to gamble for the first down. Again, McCutcheon got the call, but this time the Vikings were ready. In retrospect, this was the game's turning point. After this play, the Rams were unable to seriously threaten until it was much too late. But for the Vikings, it sparked their finest offensive series of the game. One key play was a pass from quarterback Bob Lee to wide receiver Ahmad Rashad, number 28. Rashad's catch set up the only score of the first half, a 5-yard run from number 44, Chuck Foreman. Foreman finished the game with 101 yards rushing, making the clutch plays when he had to. Today especially, Foreman was the Minnesota attack. But the Rams found they too could move when tight end Terry Nelson, number 83, touched the ball. Nelson caught 5 passes, complementing the running of McCutcheon. Despite close encounters of the muddy kind, McCutcheon still ran for over 100 yards. But when the Rams got near the end zone, Minnesota slammed the door. An interception by number 25, Nate Allen, ended the most serious Ram advance of the first 30 minutes. Minnesota was a 10-point underdog for this game, yet led 7-0 at the half. Only 2 months earlier, these same Vikings had been humiliated here by the Rams in a 35-3 rout. Now it was their turn to exact revenge. And appropriately enough, it was Chuck Foreman who led the way. Foreman's fourth-quarter burst set up a touchdown plunge from Sammy Johnson that appeared to put the Rams away for good. Indeed, Los Angeles did not even get on the scoreboard until only 56 seconds remained. The Rams then recovered an onside kick, but were halted in their efforts to tie the game. Twice in the final minutes, the Vikings intercepted passes at the goal line, including this one from number 22, Paul Krause. For the 4th straight time, the Vikings beat the Rams in the playoffs. They did it with good defense, no turnovers, and a little assist from Mother Nature. The song says it never rains in Southern California, but this time it rained all over the Rams parade.
31. Hayden to McCutcheon, and he is belted. And from this angle, it would not appear he made it. Page and Mullaney teaming up. This year. Last year they had 45, so they slacked off a little bit. Bob Lee looking to release, goes down the left side, and it's complete to Ahmad Rashad for the first down to the 41-yard line. Rashad, who led the NFC with 51 passes this year. Rashad left and wide right, so they haven't changed that formation at all. Lee going to try it again. Goes deep down the left side. Rashad makes a great catch. He beat Monty Jackson, and Nolan Cromwell, the free safety, had to come over and knock him out of bounds. Big play for Minnesota. Miller behind Bob Lee. And it'll be Bob Miller going around the outside, head on by Dave Elmendorf, who brought him down, and then the other Rams came along to make sure. Robert Miller playing for Brent McClanahan. Miller, 5'11", 204-pounder out of Kansas. 7. And Lee going to throw wide to Bob Miller, and he's got him, and he's at the 20-yard line, and he'll pick up another first down. And Monty Jackson, and they're going after Monty. 3rd and 4 from the 14-yard line. Lee looking right and releasing to Robert Miller, and he fumbles the ball. It will be recovered by the Vikings. The Vikings recovered the ball on the 6-yard line. We'll see who came across to make it. It was Sammy White who fell on the fumble, number 85, to save the moment after Robert Miller let that wet hog get away.
Just came out altogether.
And it'll be Chuck Foreman, and he's going to go in. Touchdown.
Well, would you ever?
In the first quarter, it is Minnesota 7 and Los Angeles nothing. Hayden looking left. Now back down in the middle. No good, and intercepted instead by Nate Allen, who came out of nowhere to handle it. From McCutcheon and Capoletti back of Hayden. Capoletti with McCutcheon putting a block on McNeil, but as he's doing that, Jim Marshall came over and knocked him down. Jim Marshall, number 70. What a story. He's had 18 years in this league since he came out of Ohio State, and at 39 going on 40, he has announced he will play next year. Both backs release. And Hayden is going to go down, and the man who applied the heat was Alan Page, and then for good measure, White came along to hammer him. James kicking out of his end zone. And Moore will get his face wet as he looks up in the rain at his own 42. Jackie Wallace brings him down just shy of the 40-yard line on the Ram 41. Robert Miller got out across the 35-yard line. Dave Elmendorf and Jack Reynolds. 3rd and 2 from the 32. And it's Robert Miller climbing over people for the first down. And in motion, Robert Miller and Chuck Foreman over the right side and across the 20-yard line, and he might have made the first down. Depends on where they mark it. He's picked it up. Foreman doing it almost on his own. Marvelous.
I'm telling you, the guy just seems to find the open holes, and he makes the most out of it.
White. Robert Miller with Sammy Johnson in there to spell Foreman. Johnson leading a block for him. On the Ram 12-yard line, White in a slot left inside Rashad. In motion goes Robert Miller. Down to just shy of the 1-yard line.
Overcome with that field condition.
2nd and goal from the 1. Sammy Johnson, he's in there. Sammy Johnson scoring. The big guy, 6'1", 226 out of North Carolina. But what is more important, the Vikings have picked up some more points. And here it is for a trip to Dallas. Hayden going for both in the end zone. Intercepted by Minnesota. The tackle by Charles Young. I want to double check as the gun goes off. Make sure who it is getting up because he is covered.
A funny thing happened on the way to the Los Angeles Coliseum, however. A 2-year drought ended. Given such conditions, only a team for all seasons could win.
Go get it! Oh!
A critical 7-point advantage resulted from the first Viking possession, and then the so-called old men took over.
Come on, defense! Shut him out!
Come on, Moose! Come on, Moose! Pick one off Skinny Minnie!
Nate Allen's end zone theft stole confidence from the Rams' passing attack. And then the Vikings went to work on the Rams' main strength. Minnesota was controlling the game, and by the third quarter, Los Angeles was choking in the mud. This was Viking football, a game where an opponent is driven to careless turnovers, a style every man in purple understands.
It's a one-way street, Krause.
Center Mick Tingeloff, guards Ed White, Charles Goodrum, and tackles Ron Yeri and Steve Riley cleared this street for Chuck Foreman, Robert Miller, and Sammy Johnson. By the fourth quarter, these men were digging a muddy road to victory.
For the win.
Get up in there! Come on, baby! Ram it home! Take it in! Take it in!
Though 9-point underdogs coming in, Minnesota had never lost to Los Angeles in 3 playoff meetings. But when a 14-point lead dwindled to 7 in the game's final minute of play, the Vikings were suddenly hanging on for their playoff lives.
Hey, don't give up no touchdown.
Come on, Jim. Come on, Jim.
Let them burn that clock up, baby.
Don't let them score anything cheap, that's all.
From their own 31, only 7 seconds remained.
Come on.
Jeff Wright's interception sealed victory and sent the Vikings into their 4th NFC Championship game in 6 years. That this team had beaten such a power as Los Angeles could only be explained by something each Viking feels at playoff time.
How do you explain it? Yeah, evidently we wanted it more than they did. That's the only thing I know. What I'm saying is all that happened in the past doesn't mean anything. You can't, beating us 35-3 then, that extra 32 points didn't help you today. We've got the players and the talent. When we play together, you can't be beaten.
And it'll be handled by Sammy White. And White still going to the 40, to the 45 before he is dragged down. Huther and Brown making the tackles. Ahmad Rashad left. Play action fake to Miller, who stays in the block. And Lee going high and deep for Sammy White. No good. A flag on the play. Charlie Waters and Benny Barnes evidently interfering with Sammy White. Lee trying to get the Vikings back in the game. Another fumble, but Foreman recovered it. And he just did get it back because Jethro Pugh just missed scooping it up. White and Rashad are left. Play action fake to Foreman. Lee under a rush by Randy White. And White decks him at the 16-yard line. They lose 12 yards on the play. Have a field goal attempt by Fred Cox. They'll spot it at the 22. A 32-yard effort by Cox. It is good. Fred Cox, who will retire at the end of the year and is the second greatest scorer in history behind George Blanda, gets Minnesota on the board with 9:57 to the half. 3rd and 7 from the 37. Lee under a rush, but gets it away and completes it to Ahmad Rashad, and Mark Washington takes him out of bounds as they pick up the first down. That the score would indicate. Lee trying to pick up another if he can. Fakes once, slings it and completes it to the tight end, Stu Voigt. He's inside the 35-yard line of Dallas, brought down by Cliff Harris. But Stu Voigt, the tight end, making the reception. Foreman, the deep man in the eye. Both backs go out, and Lee down the left side, a diving catch and a good catch by Sammy White. First down at the 19. Here is the tight end on the right side. And it's a draw to Foreman. Is that eaten up? Cliff Harris and Bob Brunig played that as if they had the Minnesota playbook behind the line of scrimmage. The slot. Rashad is wide right. Lee gets by, too tall, fumble. The ball is still loose. It was Too Tall Jones applying some pressure, and it would appear as if Charles Goodrum, number 68, fell on the ball for Minnesota. Down at the 37, Cox gets it up, and it's good. And Fred Cox, who at one stage of his career kicked a field goal in 31 consecutive games, has kicked 2 today, and it narrows it now to the Cowboys 13 and the Vikings 6. Landry and company have done what just about everybody figured they would do. They beat the Vikings 23-6. And to a gallant Minnesota ball club, had they not done what they had done all year, they might have been a lot closer. But, of course, the 4 turnovers really killed them to such a strong machine as Dallas.